Five-time national champion Miami Hurricanes, the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, the three-time NBA champion Miami Heat, Miami Hurricanes basketball, and now the new home of the two-time World Series winner Miami Marlins.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
In Miami, at a Domino's game, you'll always find your Abuelito. And whenever you want a low price, you save with your Pricito. Save now with your Pricito at Doral Volkswagen. Go to DoralVW.com. The Dolphins and Commanders will have the first of two joint practices today. They'll play a preseason game Friday at 7 o'clock. The Marlins took down the Pirates 2-0. They play again today at 6:40, but Kyle Stowers will not be on the team because he's got on 10-day disabled list because of his hamstring. Canes football team are minus 135 favorites to win the ACC Game 1 September 4th against Stanford, and the Heat playing on Christmas Day. It's going to be the second game at 2:30 against the Celtics. They open the season October 21st at home against the Timberwolves. This weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Have a leaky roof? Take action now. Get a free estimate at 954-968-8155. Temperatures going to be hot in the low 90s with a chance of rain throughout all of South Florida. I am Dan Day. It is time now for the Joe Rose Show here on 104.3 FM WQAM.
Boy, this is how you wake people up on a Wednesday morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Hollywood. Donno is along with us this morning. How you doing, Donno?
I'm doing well. I'm still trying to get my schedule back on track. I know, like, you were in Italy a few weeks back, so it's probably the same thing for you. I just got back like 2 days ago or a day and a half ago from Alaska. 4 hours back, took a red eye back from Seattle a couple days ago. So I don't know, day is night, night is day, up is down, down is up. But I'm just happy to be here, fellas, because football season is almost back. So I'm dialed in.
Well, it's great to have you, Donno. First off, I got to know how was the trip? How is Alaska? Did you see polar bears? Is it cold there this time of year? Like how was it over there?
Yeah, I don't think polar bears live in Alaska. We did see some bears, like brown bears, possibly a grizzly from really far away. I couldn't tell if it was a grizzly, some kind of bear. Saw a lot of whales. It's like this time of year, and like on the cruises, it was Alaskan cruise. They take you to like the southeastern part of Alaska, which is like not that far from like British Columbia, Canada. We didn't go to the Arctic Circle, so it was cool.
Okay.
It was jacket weather. It was like in the 50s, was not, frigid sub-zero temperatures, beautiful mountains, a lot of whale watching, marine life, sea lions and stuff. I would highly recommend, these gigantic mountains just go right up against the water. It's really just one of the most breathtaking, beautiful places when it comes to pure scenery.
Now, logistically, how do you get there? Like, is there a direct flight from Miami to Anchorage, Alaska, or something?
If you're going to go that route, I don't know if you can fly direct from Miami. You probably have to stop over in Seattle. That's kind of like the hub to get to Alaska. We went on an Alaskan cruise, so you get the cruises usually leave from Seattle. And yeah, so you go over to Seattle, then you cruise up there. They stop usually at the same ports: Juneau, Alaska, Ketchikan, Skagway. You make a stop in Victoria, Canada on the way back, and you see a few of those spots, and it's beautiful. It's a very, very different vibe from the Caribbean cruises, and I enjoy them both. Like, I enjoy like the tropical Caribbean cruise, but the Alaska cruise, it's not like a beachy type of thing. It's jacket weather, but the scenery is unmatched. Like, it's, unless you've been over to like Iceland or like Norway or something, I don't think you can do any better than Alaska.
I love you guys. You just got back from Alaska. You just got back from Italy. I had a day off yesterday, sat and blared reggae music out of my apartment and went to the beach, and I thought I was living the high life.
We need to get.
Well, I
Dan on
guarantee you
vacation.
spent a lot less money in that venture than Hollywood and I did in our respective trips. So you might have done it right, Dan.
Yeah, we need to get Dan on a vacation. We'll figure out somewhere we can send Dan. But yeah, I did do a week in the Donno homeland out there in Italy, and it was great, Donno. I could see why you frequent over there. So yeah, it was a great trip. We do have a lot of sports to get to here today. Donno, of course, the host of the Locked On Canes podcast, so we'll get into some Canes stuff. And boy, it is funny, man. This is that time of year where everyone's picking teams, and it's on both levels, right? It's, the Dolphins, are they going to win one game? Are they going to win, 6, 7, 8, or 9 games? And everyone's got a different opinion on that one. And, of course, the Hurricanes. I think, at least with the Hurricanes, there seems to be a relatively unanimous they're going to be very good. I've seen different things here. I've seen, Donno, I saw on your page someone had them outside the top 5. I've seen them as high as 1. So all I can say is, I'm kind of in that camp as, we watched the practice, and, they're going to be very good. They are going to be a very, very good team this year. They are going to be underdogs, presumably in 1 game, maybe 2 on their schedule. So things set up very nicely for the Hurricanes this year. And, Donno, they have reloaded after losing a lot. That's what good, happens when the teams get good. They start to lose a lot of draft picks. And the Hurricanes have reloaded seemingly at every position that they needed to.
Yeah, you mentioned the preseason rankings. I don't think any of the serious publications have them anywhere lower than number 7. And that included the coaches poll that came out, the kind of the unofficial early ESPN rankings, all the preseason magazines. Nobody has Miami lower than 7. I'm not sure if I've seen him number 1 anywhere. Maybe I haven't looked as hard, but I number 3
check
on
my poll, Donno.
Oh, the Hollywood poll has, and the Donno poll as well may have them at number 1. But I think the Pick 6 preview mag has them up at number 3.
Okay.
And the bottom line, you mentioned losing some important players to the NFL, but with the way Mario Cristobal has acquired talent, both in recruiting and through the transfer portal, the team is reloading. And there's going to be certain areas where they may take a slight drop off from last year, but I think other areas like quarterback and receiver, where I think they're better than they were a year ago, and that's going to balance that out a little bit. But I know you guys do your awesome broadcasts, you and Joe, from practices every year, the practices I get out to Hollywood. I think the offensive line, they lost some important parts from last year, but I think they're going to be really good again. It may take a little time, and they have time because the early season schedule is not that difficult. It kind of builds a crescendo to kind of work out the pass blocking, but I think run blocking wise, they could be potentially even better than they were last year. And I think the pass pro is going to come along as the chemistry comes along. And I think the defensive line is going to be really good. I mean, it's hard to replace Reuben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, but with Damon Wilson and Marquise Lightfoot, who I know has been a little on the small side the last couple of years, but he's up to 240 now. Size is no longer an issue for him. And Armando Blunt has looked really good. Darian Mensah at quarterback now, who's fantastic. I think this team, Hollywood, is going to be really good. And like you said, the schedule looks a little easier than it did last year outside of that Notre Dame game in South Bend. And it's why Miami's over-under win total is 10.5. A lot of people think they're going to win 11 or more games in the regular season. So, man, football cannot get here fast enough.
Well, 11 gets you into the playoff. I would certainly have to assume, Donno, and I don't know where that loss will come. I don't want to circle that Notre Dame game as some kind of loss, because I think Miami can go up there and certainly beat those guys. It just depends, right? It depends on when they start to peak, when they start to play their best football. Last season, they played really well in the beginning. You had to kind of lull in the middle, and after those 2 losses, they started to peak. And they peaked right when the playoffs started, and played the best football we've seen Miami Hurricanes play in a long time. Donno, that was a special playoff run, and a lot of people thinking that the Hurricanes can get back there. It certainly seems that way, and I don't know. Is this the year that they do pull it off, that they win the ACC? I think that one might be almost unanimous. I don't see a lot of people showing much love to any other ACC programs right now outside of Miami.
If this isn't the year for Miami to win the ACC, I don't know when. And I even I looked at like the past. You and I, we both go out to the ACC preseason kickoff every year in Charlotte, and we get to vote on who's going to finish where. And I think even this year was the first time since I don't know, like 10 years ago, that Miami was actually picked to be the preseason ACC champion. I hope that's an omen, a good omen, and not like a kiss of death. But with the combination, Hollywood, of how good Miami looks on paper versus just how kind of mid the rest of the conference looks, like this seems to be the year where it's got to happen. And there are some other like decent teams in the ACC. SMU, who beat Miami last year, they don't play in the regular season this year, can be pretty good. They have Kevin Jennings back, third year in that offensive quarterback. SMU has a really good offensive line. PJ Williams is one of the top guys in the country. We usually expect Louisville to be pretty good. I think they're excited about their new quarterback there, Lincoln Keenholz. They got Isaac Brown at running back. Clemson is always kind of a mystery to me, Hollywood. Like, Clemson could be anywhere from like the second best team in the ACC to like the 7th or 8th. It's like depending on how their quarterback, Chris Vizina, does this year, who I don't have a whole lot of faith in, but the team is pretty good around him. So, there are definitely some teams that can be a threat to Miami if Miami isn't who we think they are. So you talk about last year. I know Miami is looking at this, Mario Cristobal and his team, like they're looking at this year as a completely new team, like not building on last year. But I do think there were some lessons learned from last season. When you think about that lull, that slump in the middle of the year, versus the way they played in the playoffs, I think now Mario Cristobal, Shannon Dawson, the OC, they understand, don't take your foot off the gas, right? Do not get complacent with your approach. Don't take your foot off the throat, right? I think these are some of the things they learned. And for the players who are back from last year, I think just sort of seeing what they were capable of physically against some of the best teams in the country in the postseason, including the team that you lost to. Because, Indiana, they got the dub over Miami, but Miami belonged on that field with them. I think you can take that from last year. It helps your confidence. It helps your approach. And hopefully we don't have, the banana peels that get slipped on against teams you should beat during the year.
Yeah. Now correct me if I'm wrong on this, Donno, but I felt we were both at the ACC kickoff. And one of my takeaways from it, I told Joe this, and I just didn't feel any buzz around any team other than Miami. Like Florida State, it's all kidding aside, there's just no buzz around that team right now. It's like, let's get rid of this coach, let's get through this year and get rid of this. It's almost like how the Dolphins were last season, right? Yeah. Like, let's just get through this thing so that we can clean house. Clemson is. I don't know. They're all over the place. Like the coach finally Dabo's finally accepting the transfer portal. Like, he brought more guys in than ever. And so, Clemson's kind of a question mark. And then you're right. Like SMU, I guess, will be good. Louisville will be good. But there's just, to me, Donno, it was like the Miami media kickoff. There just is no buzz around any of these other programs. And, I don't know if the ACC is dying. That's a conversation we'll get into as we continue through the show.
Yeah, we should
today.
Get into that later.
We will get into that today. But Donno, man, like as we sit in the present moment, like there was just no buzz around any of these other teams. And the California team, like Miami starts with Stanford. I didn't even notice the California teams were there. If they were there, like I didn't see anyone from any of them. Maybe they just didn't set up interviews with us. Like there's just a lack of buzz right now.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that, with Miami being the buzz team at the kickoff this year, that's really not a role that Miami embraces, and I'll explain, right? Because you and I, we go to this event every year. Like, you probably remember, so I guess it was 2 years ago or 3 kickoffs ago, you remember when Florida State was coming off of that, that alleged unconquered year where they went 13-1, but they called it 13-0.
The Jordan Travis thing.
Yes, right? And so they showed up to the next media day as like ACC champions in waiting. That was the year they ended up going 2-10. But
It
I
was the
remember
revenge year, yeah.
Yeah, so I remember the way that Mike Norvell and the Florida State players were strutting around that ACC kickoff, like they were fully embracing the role of we're the conference champs. They were really playing it up. That is the antithesis to Mario Cristobal. Like Mario Cristobal, and you did interviews with all the players with Mario, like they will not talk about anything beyond like, hey, what time are we practicing tomorrow? Like you can't get them to, hey, Cristobal, what do you think about playing against Florida State on October 17th or Notre Dame November 7th? Like and I'm saying this is a good thing. They do not take the bait. Like they just want to talk about what's happening right now. And I compare that to Hollywood. There was I think it was Jabril Rawls, the Florida State defensive back. He does this interview where he's talking about, oh, yeah, I hate Miami. We got Miami circled on the calendar. It's like just such a different approach, and I'm refreshed by it. It's not always the best thing for interviews. Like for what you and I do for a living, we're not going to get a lot of sound bites. Like we're not, for example, you can't ask, well, you can ask him, but he's not going to answer. If you ask Darian Mensah, hey, are you excited to play Duke this year? Like you're not going to get anything from him on that. Maybe if he was still on Duke, you could get an answer like that. But, Miami's approach is completely different. So they really don't embrace at these ACC media days the idea of, yeah, we're the favorites, we're the team to beat. They downplay that stuff where some of the other teams that have been favorites in recent years will really play it up.
Yeah, we'll get more into the conference as we continue on. But, yeah, you're right. The FSU had that year where – yeah, it was going to be the revenge year, and they got screwed and all that stuff. And then I don't have my timeline right, but then I feel like the following year it was Belichick Fest,
yes,
and that clown show. And this year, yeah, it was all about the U up in Charlotte.
Do you and Joe, do you ever get to interview Belichick at that thing?
I've never seen him come down to Radio Row,
Okay.
not once. I mean, he's declined. I believe he's declined our request every year.
Bad.
He's too big, man. He's way too big to go and talk to the markets that he's trying to recruit in. You know, he's way.
He doesn't
way
recruit
too big.
though. I don't think he's.
No, I don't think he does either, Donno. I think that's going to end up being one of the great wastes of money in the history of sports, because they have spent. I'm sure that tab has gotten pretty high here between Belichick and Michael Lombardi and their staff of NFL assistants over there that they continue to pay. So that's going to end up being a very, very expensive mistake by North Carolina, a school that, by the way, like you don't need the circus hire if you're North Carolina, right? Like you should be able to to recruit over there, and they have money and it's a nice place. Like it shouldn't be, we have to hire this like total clown show of NFL, has-beens but whatever. It hasn't worked out yet. We'll see if they're any better this year. Meanwhile, the Dolphins are in Virginia. They are heading up to DC to play the Commanders on Friday. They have a joint practice today. Our guy, Dan Day. Dan, you are our post-game host here once again. So first of all, welcome back for another season of Dolphins football. I hope we can get you some wins.
I'm excited no matter
You
what.
don't get beat up on that post-game show too badly.
Yeah,
but-
so I remember I filled in for Dan for actually the first post game last year. That was the apocalyptic disaster against the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, what a
that
game.
post game was so painful. I said never again.
No. I love it, man. And I tell myself every week, look, don't get your hopes up. Don't get emotionally attached. And every week I get attached and callers call in and I start yelling and screaming. I can't help it.
Well, this year at least you got
It's I'm going to be the same.
You got a lot of new pieces, Dan. So that's what you can see. You can kind of you get your post game going, and this
Hollywood,
guy's young.
I'm
We're gonna
telling
be
you,
building.
Friday, preseason, game 1, I'm going to go on for an hour and I'm going to go crazy. And I'm going to turn off the microphone. I'm going to go, why? Why do I let them do this to me? Preseason game 1
might look good though, man. Let's who knows, man. Maybe it'll look better than anticipated. I will tell you, look, I'm not an expert when it comes to watching football practice, Donno, and I'm certainly, it's so tough to tell when it's team against team, right?
Yeah.
We'll get a much better idea, I think, today where things stand. The only thing I can tell you is Malik Willis is a massive improvement at that position.
Yes.
That I can tell you for sure. The things that I can't tell you, because again, it's, Donna, when you watch a team go against a team, it's tough because it's like, all right, they were getting a bunch of sacks today. Does the offensive line suck? They're not getting any pressure on the quarterback today. Does the defensive line are they bad? Like it's kind of tough, right? Because it's kind of unit against unit. So when you go against another team, I think today you'll get a much better idea, I think, of where things stand with this team. I want to see the offensive line, how they hold up. That's going to be, not an obvious key here to the season, but Malik Willis is going to need an opportunity to succeed, right? That's the key here is, can we at least see enough flashes from Malik Willis this season to lead us to believe that they do not need to draft a quarterback in what's going to be a good quarterback draft class, presumably. So that would be, key number one. Key number 1, 2, and 3 probably to this season is, can Malik Willis play at a high enough level to say, all right, he's our guy moving forward.
Yeah, and I'm like you. I believe Malik Willis to be a major upgrade, which is, I guess, not saying much considering what Tua was last year. But yeah, is he going to be the actual quote-unquote franchise quarterback, or is he a bridge quarterback? That's something we'll find out this year. And I mean, if you look from John Eric Sullivan to Jeff Hafley on down, like this is a rebuild that has to work, right? I mean, Stephen Ross tried the rebuild that started with Brian Flores 6-7 years ago. That rebuild obviously did not take through the Mike McDaniel era, so he was willing to hit that demolition button once again. And so I want to see, because the last time we tried to rebuild a team, if you look at the Mike McDaniel era, we tried to build a track team, which, I guess maybe has worked sometimes in the past, but if you don't have lines of scrimmage, your track players are not going to travel in November, December, and January. So I think this time, John Eric Sullivan is willing to try to build a team from the inside out, and that's what I want to see, not only this season, the next couple of years, if we can get these lines of scrimmage. The defensive line has been very good at times, obviously, but the offensive line especially, can we get that up to par?
Yeah, I believe you see someone already texted in about Tua there. I gotta tell you, they are, we talked to John Michaels, some of those guys from Atlanta. They're not overly thrilled, I don't think, about Tua. And it was funny. I'm listening to ESPN radio this morning driving in, Donno, and I hear Tua doing his press conference and talking about learning plays, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm living in the twilight zone. All right, we got to take a pause. Joe's going to join us at the 7:00 hour, by the way, from DC. So we'll check in with Joe. Omar's going to stop by in the 8:00 hour, so we'll find out what to watch for today at Dolphins practice as they get set for their joint practice with the Commanders. We got some Canes stuff to get to as the Miami Hurricanes continue their training camp. The Miami Heat, their season is around the corner. A lot of national exposure coming for the new look Miami Heat. So we have a lot of stuff going on here on this Wednesday morning on QAM.
I'm super sure about one thing. I'm
Our tickets at CasinoDaniaBeach.com.
Cool ways to listen to us.
Okay, I'd like to hear them then.
On FM 104.3 or on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Same great shows, same great games. Plus, you can use the rewind feature and listen to anything you missed. Go for it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Give it to me now. Give it to me now. Give it to me now. Give it to me now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Welcome back in here on QAM. We've started a battle here, Donno, on the YouTube chat stream.
I was looking at those and you know what? You know what's ironic about it, Hollywood? We thought the Tua arguments were going to be over now that he's no longer a Dolphin, and yet the Tua arguments rage on.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing how he plays in Atlanta. Like, I will be watching. It's certainly intriguing to see how that goes, but that is no longer our problem, Donno. Our problem, or hopefully lack thereof a problem, begins today here, really, for the Dolphins. They will take on the Commanders in a joint practice. So we have that going on today. Joe will stop by with us. He is in D.C. to watch today's practice. He'll be back on the show with us. We are targeting tomorrow and Friday for that. Omar will stop by as well. Omar got Joe again yesterday. We had Omar come on, and he hit him with this South Beach flu thing. You know about this, Donno.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I don't really subscribe to this theory, too much. Like, I think that there's stuff to do in every city. I don't think that, first of all, we're grouping just like NFL. Omar, I guess like we're grouping just NFL players into this equation. Like they're the only people that can't, figure out how to survive in South Florida with, with the distractions or whatever. I don't know, man. I just don't really necessarily subscribe to that theory that like that's why, our teams have had problems over the years. I think there are certainly a lot of other reasons that contribute to the issues that have plagued us here. And, I thought John Eric Sullivan, we had him on the show on Monday. I thought he gave a tremendous answer to, why or how you fix this problem, or if it is a problem. And he said, no, well, it's on me. It's, if I'm drafting the right guys, then football is their priority and this is not an issue. And so he kind of put it on his shoulders, and I like that answer. And it's right, man. Like if you're drafting the right guys who have the right character, I don't know that this is really much of a thing, but
listen, I'll give you 3 examples that if you have the right people, it's not an issue. Cam Ward, had plenty of NIL money down here. I don't think he ever left his house, if not to go to practice. Mark Fletcher Jr., he's not going out. He's not drinking or staying up late. Malachi Toney, he was an 18-year-old that he's, probably making presumably 7 figures through NIL money, and he gets to the facility at 5 a.m. every morning. So it's really it's more about the person than about the environment. And listen, you're located close to South Beach and Brickell and everything that goes on down here. Yeah, if you're drafting and signing the wrong types of people, then maybe that can be an issue. But John Eric Sullivan is right. It's a GM issue because if you're getting the right type of people for your organization, they're not going to get the South Beach flu.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that one, Donno. And, look, the other thing, too, is, like, I don't know how many players are out running around at 3 or 4 in the morning at these places. Everyone's got cameras now.
Yeah, right.
So, like, I don't know, man. I don't see it a lot. Maybe I'm reading the wrong tabloids. Like, maybe you got to grab the stuff that's, like, but behind the checkout counter when you're at Publix or, and you see those, like, magazines that are all, situated up there that have the ridiculous headlines, like what is it, the Inquirer or whatever, that like just make up weird stories, and there's aliens and there's celebrities doing fake stuff, and maybe I got to grab one of those to see if there's any photos of like Dolphin players running around clubs at 3 and 4 in the morning. But yeah, Omar got him on that one yesterday, man. He got Joe on that one, and we're trying to change the culture, Donno. We're trying to change the culture over there in Miami Gardens, and that's not an easy thing to do, right? And Mike, I think the culture kind of got away from him and, with Chris and everyone, and now they have cleaned house over there and they have new people. So they are trying to change the culture. Now, the problem, again, is, can you change the culture and have a team that may not win a lot of games. Right. That is the reality of this year's team. And, John Eric Sullivan certainly did not make any excuses, but there are also realities that he, talked about. And, that's something that we are going to have to deal with probably this season and maybe into next season. And, Dolphin fans are going to have to be patient and hope that we have the right people here. I think that there are some steps that we can take this year that will lead us to believe that we are heading in the right direction. And look, you're going to find out real quick if John Eric Sullivan can draft.
Yeah.
Right. And they had a lot of picks, Donno. And, I think first and foremost, you look at that quarterback position and they believe that Malik Willis has every physical tool to succeed. So it says a lot about the endorsement, and not the first time he said it, but he said it with Joe and said that, if he doesn't succeed here, it's not going to be because of lack of physical tools. And so, we apparently have a quarterback, and I've seen him in practice, so again, it's, take that kind of as you will, but he looks the part, right? He seems to have the arm. He seems to have the legs. So we'll see how this goes with Malik Willis, but these guys have stuck their neck out for him, right? And, this wasn't a situation of like, all right, we're going to, we know this guy, he's a good guy, and he's going to be serviceable for a year as, we kind of bridge this thing into drafting a quarterback next year. And that's not why they brought him in. They brought this guy in to be the future of the franchise. So I think it's going to be very intriguing to see how it goes. If they are the worst team in football, and they win one game like the USA Today predicted they will, then you're probably going to be drafting a quarterback. You're probably going to be very much in that conversation.
And it's a really good looking quarterback class for 2027.
It's a deep quarterback class. A handful of guys decided they were going to stay in school. By the way, I don't know where Darian Mensah is going to end up getting drafted. We got to play the season out here, but I saw him in a mock draft pretty high up there the other day. And, look, I imagine Darian Mensah is going to put up video game type numbers this season, right? With the guys that he's throwing to, he's got a running game that he can certainly lean on if the pass game isn't there. But man, I imagine he is going to put up kind of, video game-ish numbers here, Donno.
Yeah, I mean, between him, Trinidad Chambliss, Dante Moore at Oregon. I know I see some of these mock drafts with Arch going number one, and I cringe a little bit. It's like I think that's going to get debunked again this year. He's got weapons in Texas, but Arch, to me, very great athlete, not accurate as a passer. So I don't know how I feel about him, but a really deep quarterback class. But again, like going back to Malik Willis, and I hope he's the guy, because anytime the Dolphins trade for or sign a quarterback, I want that to be the franchise guy we've been waiting for so long. To your point, nobody knows him better. Like when it comes to executives and coaches, nobody knows Malik Willis better than Sullivan and Hafley. So for them to stick their neck out for him and make sure he's acquired tells me they believe in him. They watched him in practice every single session in Green Bay. So we've gotten a chance to watch him with Miami. So I hope it works out, and I hope to hear and see good things from him these next few days, these joint practices, this preseason game on Friday against the Commanders.
Yeah, and Mr. 305, I see you on there, but I'm not ready to talk about having the first pick. Hopefully, Donno, they can beat Vegas in the opener at the very least. That would be a nice game to win. I would like Malik Willis to be the guy. I don't want to have to draft another quarterback because it's not a slam dunk.
No.
Right? He said, you take Arch, and I don't know. Is it a guarantee that Arch can be good at the next level? He didn't wow me last year. Certainly. And what do you got here? Mr. Desi Nord on here, Donno. Years ago, he saw a player out, let's say a few days before a game. So I guess everyone's going out. So he's got it. So there you go. You said 90% of the people that were in that club didn't even know who he was. Yeah, there you go. They're all going out, Donno. They're all out till 5 a.m. the night before the game.
Well, what are they? Are they? Maybe they're taking like IVs, like when they get home to replenish.
Exactly. But he knows. This guy knows. All right. Here we go, man. We are set up for a good show here today. We got Joe going to join us in about 20 minutes from now. Omar will stop by with us as well. We'll see if Omar got up to DC last night. I wonder if he checked out the nightlife up there. So we'll see if he's
see that's the Omar is the guy who you worry about with the South Beach flu.
Yeah.
I think he's projecting that onto the team.
I said that the other day. I said I think Omar is the one that's going out till 3 and 4 in the morning and hurting the next day. Like I think he's the one that's dealing with it. But all right, we got to take a pause here again. Joe joins us in about 20 minutes as we continue on here this Wednesday morning on QAM.
I want to talk about Gary and Harvey for just a second this morning.
By Wild Fork Meat and Seafood Market, now open in Davie. Back to school mornings and weeknight dinners are easier with Wild Fork. Stock up on breakfast maple patties, Carolina ground turkey, chicken nuggets, and creamy mac and cheese. Great food, premium quality, and wild prices every day at Wild Fork Meat and Seafood Market. Coming soon to Hialeah.
Your favorite shows, the games of your favorite South Florida teams. We've got them
right here on the Q, baby.
Catch us on FM 104.3 or listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Don't miss a thing.
We were at a party.
Well, welcome back in here on QAM. Hope everyone's having a good start to their Wednesday morning. Hollywood, Donno, Dan Day along here with you. Joe stopped by in about 10, 12 minutes from now. So, Donno, we will have Joe stop by and talk a little about this practice here today with the Commanders and the Miami Dolphins. Meanwhile, the Miami Heat got some national love as Giannis is in town now, and the new look Heat getting a Christmas Day game against the Celtics. Very cool to see. It's funny, Donna. They said they were holding off on the schedule until LeBron made his decision, and I think you can see why, as they have the Sixers in a lot of primetime action to start the season. LeBron's going to open things up at the Garden. Then he's going to play Cleveland, and on Christmas he's playing the Lakers. So a very interesting schedule for the Sixers. A lot of juicy games to start the NBA season. But first things first, we are going to kick off this football season. And Donna, we will later on in the show get into this ACC deal here, but just to kind of tease it, I feel like the talk, and maybe this is just because I'm on Twitter too much, but it does feel like the talk is starting to heat up around the conferences outside of the Big Ten and the SEC kind of in a little feeding frenzy here to get out of these conferences while they still can, right? And I don't know what the landscape is going to look like in 5 years from now. I have absolutely no clue. Is it going to be two mega conferences with 30 some odd teams? Are we still going to have conferences like the ACC and the Big 12 and something or other out west? I don't know what it's going to look like in 5 years, Donno, but I do know that Miami has positioned themselves very well should anything go down here in the near future. But I'm just curious if you have any clue what the timeline looks like for this deal here.
Yeah, well, there's some complicated things that people don't talk about probably enough on social media, because all that I see on X or Twitter or whatever we call it is like, oh, Miami to the Big Ten, this is going to happen and everything. And it might, and I hope it does, because I don't think the ACC adds much value. I think the ACC is more in survival mode, right? They want to try to keep their breadwinners like, Miami, Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina. Like, they want to keep them just to sort of keep the rest of the conference in float. And so the reason why everyone's talking about conference realignment again is actually because a senator from the state of Florida, Ashley Moody, slapped on an amendment to this proposed Protect College Sports Act, which hasn't been voted on yet. They were going to vote on it last week. They punted it to September. Maybe they'll add more amendments before then. So the Moody amendment would allow any Power 4 school to have a 180-day window when the act passes to declare you're leaving the conference, because before that amendment, you would have essentially been stuck where you are, which I don't think anybody outside of the ACC commissioner really wants you to be stuck where you are. But the other issue, though, Hollywood, that people don't talk about is, unless they make another amendment to this thing, part of the Protect College Sports Act is capping the conference sizes at 19 maximum, which means the Big Ten only has one spot open because they have 18 teams in that conference right now. I mean, maybe Miami could get that spot, but there's suspicion that the Big Ten is like holding out hope that they could add Notre Dame at some point. Notre Dame, of course, still famously independent, but the Big Ten only has one spot if 19 is the max. The SEC only has 3 spots, And for whatever reason, there's been a lot of buzz that the SEC doesn't really want Miami. My theory on that is because the biggest recruiting advantage that SEC teams have in South Florida is they can go to South Florida and recruit against Miami by saying, well, do you want to play in the ACC or do you want to play in the SEC? And if Miami were in the SEC, they're unstoppable in recruiting because you no longer have, that recruiting advantage. But so, I mean, listen, you're right. And I know you guys had one of the best interviews on this show a couple months back with UM President Joe Echeverria, basically saying, like, we're open to whatever's the best option for us, which led me to believe they are open to changing conferences if an opportunity presents itself. But with this cap of 19, it just makes it very difficult if you're playing musical chairs with only 4 spots available, just 1 in the Big Ten and up to 3 in the SEC.
Well, Donno, we will see in the, I guess, coming, months and years how this thing shakes out. Certainly going to be interesting to watch, but I think the Hurricanes will be just fine. I probably, the big programs in the ACC, I'm guessing, North Carolina, Clemson, Florida State, I'm guessing they'll all be fine when this thing, when the dominoes eventually start to fall. I want to let people know about a couple of contests we got going here. First, we got Kiss Country presenting Stars and Strings this November at Hard Rock Live at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, featuring Lee Bryce, Kane Brown, Brantley Gilbert, Brandon Lake, and Stephen Wilson Jr. We have a chance for you to win tickets. You could text the word guitar to 20357. That is guitar to 20357, and you are entered. For more info, you can go to WQAM.com and say text contest message and data rates apply. Do not text and drive. And also want to let people know, we also on the website, WQAM.com, on the contest page, you can register right now to win VIP tickets to the Hobby Card Show, which is coming up this Saturday and Sunday at the Broward Convention Center. And Donno, I will be setting up a table.
Love that.
At this
I love
card
that
show.
for you.
Yep, we're gonna be selling some stuff out there. At the moment, I do have 3 Joe Rose autographs that we're looking to move. So I have that for anyone who wants to come out and obtain one of those. But we have VIP tickets for you that you can register for. And they're also going to throw in a meet and greet and autograph with Bam Adebayo. So Bam Adebayo will be out there signing. You got Frank Gore, Najee Davenport, Clinton Portis, Ricky Williams, Willis McGahee. The cast of The Sandlot's going to be out there. Joe hasn't seen The Sandlot, Donno. Found that out yesterday.
I mean, I guess he's like above that generation.
Is he, though? I don't know, man.
I feel like I
don't know when The Sandlot came out.
Well, when The Sandlot came out, he's probably in his 30s. I don't know. So
I guess, but I don't know. He's a baseball guy too.
Yeah, but it does I still love The Sandlot to this day, but it's because it came out when we were kids. Like, I don't know if I was already a grown man when it came. I don't know if I would have seen it.
I don't know, though. It's one of those kind of legendary baseball movies that you see, like The Natural and Bull Durham. It's kind of on that list.
I do feel like it's in that category of like the Hoosiers type movies that you just you see.
Might be right.
I don't know. I watched it recently with my son, and he loved it. I loved it. Like, it still holds up.
It holds up for sure. I watched it a few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a fun movie. But anyway, you can go to the contest page on WQAM.com and register to win those tickets. And you come hang with us this weekend at the Hobby Card Show. You can get tickets at thehobbycardshow.com if you are interested in attending. All right, we have Joe going to stop by with us to kick off the 7 o'clock hour. That'll be next on QAM.
Hey, summer is upon us, and Dr. Barry's team of Recovery Unplugged has your back.
For note, cut for cut. Don't miss out. Purchase your tickets at CasinoDaniaBeach.com.
This hour of the Joe Rose Show is brought to you by Baptist Health.
This is the legendary WQAM-FM and HD1 Miramar, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. WQAM Miami, an Odyssey sports station. The home of Joe Rose with Hollywood, Tobin and Leroy, and Hawk, Crowder and Solana. South Florida sports lives here.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Whenever you want a low price, you save with your Pricito. Save now with your Pricito at Doral Volkswagen. Go to DoralVW.com. The Dolphins and Commanders will have the first of 2 joint practices today. They will have a preseason game 1 Friday at 7. The Marlins took down the Pirates, winning 2-0. They play again tonight at 6:40. And former Canes coach Jimmy Johnson addressed the team yesterday during practice. This weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Have a leaky roof? Take action now. Get your free estimate, 954-968-8155. Temperatures in the low 90s with a chance of rain throughout the day. I am Dan Day. Now back to the Joe Rose Show here on 104.3 FM WQAM.
Welcome back in here on this Wednesday morning. Hollywood, Donno, Dan Day along with you. And we're going to head out to the Toyota of Hollywood hotline where Joe Rose is standing by in Virginia this morning, getting set for that Dolphins joint practice with the Commanders. Joe, good morning. How you doing out there?
I'm doing great, Woody. How you guys doing this morning, man? Sorry,
Hey, Joe.
Sorry I had to bump you today, bud. How you doing?
We're good, man. I got a question for you. Can you confirm or deny that you were out all night long and enjoying the DC nightlife and you're hurting this morning? Is that true or not true?
Well, I did. I wanted to see what it would hurt. You know, I did stay out till about 2:30 this morning.
Okay.
And then I did come in with hurting a little bit. And then from there, I wanted to see getting up this morning if I could go out and play and at what level could I play at today. You can't let it go, can you, man?
We were talking about it this morning about how Omar got to you a little bit yesterday with.
It's everybody, man. I heard from former teammates, and everybody's got a little take, but it goes back to one thing: whether you have a couple wild guys, whether you have a team full of a combination, a little across the board, married, single, wild. If you got good players, it really doesn't matter. The really good players, even if they sneak out on you from time to time during the week, and you could tell on a Wednesday or Thursday one of your teammates is hurting a little bit going through practice, you don't worry about that person when they're really friggin' good, because one thing, they make sure Sunday at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, Sunday night football, Monday night football, they want to be the best, man, and they always play at a high level. We can stop talking about nightlife and what cities and how our city's worse than any place because of the women and the alcohol we serve. And hey, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it. It seems to be a lot of guys that aren't very good are the ones we talk about that are doing that stuff instead of. And again, you know, because the guys like I play with that did hit it hard, but we're so good on Sunday, I don't want to ruin it because I don't want those guys going, really? Come on, man, you could have left my name out. So this has to do with talent, though. This doesn't have to do with who goes out during the week. It has to do with talent.
When you talk about talent and finding out if we have good players, Joe, we're going to find out a lot today. Because I really think, you can only find out so much when it's, team against team, right? And you got, your O-line going against your D-line, and it's kind of tough to tell, which unit's good, which one's bad, and today we're going to find out. We are going to find out where this team stands against another NFL team, a pretty good team in Washington. And I think there's going to be a number of things to watch for. But I think first things first, we start at that quarterback position, Joe, and we get to see Malik Willis again play against someone other than his team today. And we'll see where he stands, because he's shown a lot of good things physically, I think, through camp here. But, again, today is a big test for him and the rest of his team.
Yeah, can I just take it even step before we talk about Malik Willis, and he's off to a nice start here. And you're right, now he's gonna pick it up across the board. They got a lot of veteran players. Had a big free agent class of guys that have been. They didn't get superstars, but they got a lot of good veteran players on that Washington team. But the depth chart came out, and I thought it was very interesting because they didn't waste any time putting young guys right to the top. A lot of times teams don't want to do that because you're on a normal team. Even if it's going that way, you still want to be sensitive to veteran guys that have been around. And this team just said, all right, this is who's been best at this point. And, hey, we got 7 or 8, 9 guys from the last 2 drafts that basically are starting. I mean, there's a, Trey Moore, Kyle Lewis. We are going, wow, we didn't see that. Caleb Douglas, obviously starting the way he's played. But there's a lot of guys. Even Dotson and Rodriguez are co-starters at linebacker. Dotson coming off a really good year in the inside. And Jacob Rodriguez, a guy you drafted in the second round, but he's played really well. So they're not waiting around. It's about show me right now. And I do agree, Woody. Today, from the quarterback to everybody else, they got a nice veteran defensive line as well. How will our guys do? That was kind of the theme last night. Even talking to downstairs last night, these coaches were saying, see how our guys do, man. It's one thing, like you said, to practice against guys that are in the same situation you're in every day, and everybody knows the makeup. And now you guys, all right, you've had a good camp. Hey, you played really well. Now, all right, Chop, you've done a real nice job. Now let's see how you do against this Commanders team. So,
yeah, Joe,
it'll be fun to watch and see who shines and who plays well today and who struggles to start.
And speaking on that, Joe, let's talk offensive line. What do you want to see against the Commanders' defensive front these next couple of days? And what's been your evaluation of the O-line so far in camp?
Well, I've noticed one thing, Donald. When Austin Jackson plays, when he missed a couple of days, it didn't look very good. And when Austin Jackson was back, hey, listen, these guys, they hear everything. They know the whole thing, and they know when they've missed a lot of games, you're injury prone. They know their first round picks and there's more pressure on them. They are aware of all that stuff. I have learned that. Some handle it well. Some don't do as well with it. But I think Austin Jackson, he came back after kind of missing a couple of practices. He came back and practiced the last couple of days, and he really made it a point to just stay really active. And I think everybody is really pumped. Is like, that's an important piece. Because if he goes down, and of course they made a trade. I don't know how good Caden Wallace is going to be, the trade they made with the Patriots. Hopefully he's going to get some work here. I don't know if he's still banged up a little bit or if he's ready to go. But our starting 5, after the starting 5 with Austin Jackson, Sawyer being hurt, there's a big drop-off with everything else you have. And that's the problem on this thing that we're going through with just draft picks. Some of the guys filling out roster spots have not done well. And so, you know, and it's, listen, if I'm going to sit here and tell you our starting 5 of Austin Jackson, Savaianaya, Brewer, Proctor, and Paul, those 5, it'd be great. But reality is we haven't seen a starting 5 play a full season. It very seldom happens in the NFL, except the Buffalo Bills for some reason did it like 2 years in a row. But that's going to be a big one. So I'm really curious to see how those guys, now that they played together, that's got to be the strength of this team. Those guys, man, that you have, we got a couple of first-round picks, couple of second-round picks, and an all-pro center. Now we need to see it. It's got to come together to help Malik. For Malik to have any kind of success, it's going to start with those 5, and then from there it'll go into the running game, and then there We need receivers to start getting open and all that. But it's going to start with that starting five. It's a great place to start that's connected to every part of this offense is that starting five and that offensive line. And you got to find a 6, 7, and an 8, man, because the last thing you want is you got to change your offense so much because you have weaknesses when the backups come in that you have to help them and give them added help, and you change your offense. And then it's hard when you limit things like that.
Well, you mentioned it, Joe. I mean, for Malik Willis to find success, it starts with the offensive line, but the playmakers as well, Joe. A lot of new faces and young faces at receiver. Is that core this year going to help Malik Willis get the true, I don't know if audition is the right word, but the true opportunity to show that he's the guy here?
Yeah. So that is for people that are going, well, I want to see what Malik does. I said, well, Malik's tied partially to those receivers. And if not, look at if he's throwing the ball to the right place and his guys aren't open or can't hold on to the ball, we got a problem. And we still need to see a lot more. The great news is the young guys look really good. Especially, I know everybody's been talking about Douglas, how good Caleb Douglas is. And they're hoping, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but everybody's jacked privately about Chris Bell and what might happen later in this when the season starts up and when he's going to be able to play. Third-round pick out of Louisville. Donno, you saw the game. You saw how good he is against the University of Miami. So, those guys. But, hey, it needs a lot of work, man. Today, you want to talk about a group of guys going to have to work, whether it's one-on-ones or team getting open and giving your quarterback something to throw to. This would be a big day for those guys because I just feel like a lot of those jobs are still wide open.
You know, Joe, you look at last year's joint practice, with Detroit, and obviously there was a lot that came out of that, and it ended up being very telling on how the Dolphins season was going to unfold. I don't know that you can overreact to today's practice, right? I think that no. I think this is an important one. I'm guessing the players are going to take this as a very important one as well. And, to me, this practice here today is kind of going to set the tone moving forward here to see where this team is at.
Yeah. Listen, there are going to be some growing pains. If everybody thinks there's going to be reports coming from all of our media people saying, wow, this guy's getting, there's going to be some ugly growing pains till some players get some confidence and realize they can play against guys they've been watching on TV. And so, yeah, it's just, look, I don't want to see anybody get embarrassed where the whole national media, one of the top stories in sports becomes the Dolphins got smashed in a preseason practice like that thing we had last year. It was terrible. That was just, everybody's calling everybody. Was it that bad? Oh, my God. They keep showing these highlights of our defensive backs getting smoked by the Lions receivers, and it was bad. It was bad, even though both the guys that didn't play great that day ended up having pretty good seasons. But it is going to be some growing pains, man. Don't think we're going to sit here and put the 7-0 Joe on you here, man. There's going to be it's going to be a day by day. They're still trying to figure out what they have in the front office and the coaching staff. We're going to see more turnover. I think. Hey, they went out and gave up 2 draft picks for a guy that hasn't played that much with the New England Patriots, who they drafted in 2024 in the 3rd round. And I think everybody thinks right now, we haven't even seen it. People are talking about him being a backup tackle if according to what's going to happen with Sawyer. And I don't know when he's going to be back from his injury.
Yeah, Joe, I think joint practices have a lot of value in the NFL. There's obviously some risk when it comes to not being able to fully control the environment. Do you think joint practices could ever come to college football? I remember a couple of years ago, Deion Sanders and Fran Brown were talking about doing Colorado, Syracuse joint practice. The NCAA shut it down pretty quick. But, a lot of stuff is changing in college ball, Joe, these days. Do you think we'll ever see joint practices?
Well, I still feel like the NFL is a little more sensitive about playing great players in preseason games. And they can control a lot more, like certain guys not getting hit and doing certain drills. You can control those practices a lot more. I always laugh because I go to a Dolphin practice in the last 3 years, and I go to a Mario practice, and and they're just different, man. One guy gets after it, and the other one was it's a rest day for you. It's a rest day for you. It was just different, you know. It was a different situation. I think they're great though if you can work them out, but you start talking about extra cost coming in for a couple days. I mean, we must have 200, 250 people with. It's amazing. You start adding up coaches, 90 players, and everything else that these teams travel with, and we're here for 3 or 4 days. God bless the NFL, because you save a lot of money just coming the day before and just doing that preseason game, you know. But everybody likes them, and they think they get a lot out of them, especially for all these young guys get a little extra work. And there's going to be a lot of veterans that are going to get a lot more work today. We've already been told they're going to get a lot more work today than they will Friday night in this first preseason game. And I think that's around the NFL right now. A lot of guys just aren't going to play a lot, especially key guys. It's like, we know what you can do. Even if you're a little rusty, we don't want you getting hit. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting one.
Joe, one more thing for you about the quarterback position, and we were discussing this morning. People had some takes on this one, and the level of pressure on Malik Willis and really John Eric Sullivan and Half who put their necks out for this guy, and I think you need to see enough from him this year to say this is our guy moving forward, especially and Donno was talking about this too. Like there's a big draft class of quarterbacks coming up here this year. So Malik Willis, I don't know if there's pressure, Joe, if he feels it, if that's anything that's in his mind, but he's got to show this team and this franchise, like, hey, I am the franchise quarterback moving forward here, regardless of wins and losses. Like, he needs to show you that he's got all that physical stuff that we keep seeing in practice. Like, he needs to show that he can deliver that out there, somewhat consistently during the season.
Well, he just can't be, when you look at it, when it's bad, you want to be able to look like the New England Patriots did when they were really bad a couple years ago. And they went, hey, we're not very good on offense or in a lot of positions, but we think Drake May is going to be the guy, right? And the Saints are kind of up there, and they were going back and forth, and then Chuck started playing, and they went, okay, we're still not a great team, but we feel like we got our quarterback. That guy can play. And we saw it. We saw him he made a great throw at the end of the game. It was dropped by their number one receiver. And nobody ever really said much. They lose the game and it moves on. But people were like, hey, he made a lot of good throws. Still a pick, crucial pick at the end of the game. But they felt like by things he did in the game, you got a sense with what he's working with that he's got a chance to be the guy. But I know a lot of fans feel this way. And I would just say this, if for some reason he ends up with a bad injury, he ends up not playing well, doesn't play well in games, and it's on him, and he's missing reads, he's missing guys, and he's not making everybody around him better, then listen, the backup plan, it's no secret, is, either way, you could have a real high draft pick, and there's a lot of great quarterbacks, and they'll look at them. And if there's a really good quarterback out there, I would think that if they think Malik's not the guy, but boy, do they love him right now. But if that did get to that scenario, I believe they would draft a quarterback. If this quarterback class is good. By the way, it's hilarious because part of next year's or this upcoming quarterback class was supposed to be last year's quarterback class, and 4 or 5 of them decided to go back to college. So it is, it could be a loaded class. And one thing about it, they won't say there's lack of experience. They didn't have enough college starts with these guys now. My God, it's going to be an amazing amount of starts for Ole Miss to Texas to Oklahoma to Oregon. I mean, all over the country. There's a lot of guys came back to school that didn't like where their draft grade was, or the money was just so good and the team opportunity to come back and decided to get some more work.
Joe, I have to ask, how different is Jeff Hafley from Mike McDaniel the past few years?
That's a great question. He's an intense dude. He's got some old school coach stuff in him, but he is very aware. He's very aware of a lot of things. I think it's really important. Things we talk about on radio, he's more aware of them, and so is our general manager. Like, they don't come in here. Like, I always feel like some guys come in here like, now this is South Florida, or, hey, I don't know if you know this, but social media, all this stuff. And you got to have a feel for your team and the noise and all that stuff. I think Halfley does a really good job with all that stuff. I do. I think they know the situation they're in. I've now had a chance to talk to both of them. They know exactly what they were getting into, and they're good to go from building this thing up, and the ownership's behind everything. They know what they did and didn't do. By the way, a lot of didn't do the last few years, and so they've got the guys. But he pretty, just watching him, it's all business around this hotel. I can tell you that. And honestly, I was glad to see it. I don't want to see a lot of grab ass just because it's preseason, and this kind of a big deal for a lot of these guys, and I can see it, and I could see guys. There weren't a lot of guys even outside the hotel. They had the evening off, and it's beautiful up here where we are. And man, I'm telling you, it was all business. This guy's up watching tape and in their rooms and treating like today a little bit like a preseason game already. And I thought, that's when a lot of jobs are open. That's when you don't have a lot of guys real comfortable with where they are being here on this team right now. And it's been made pretty clear. And I think it starts with Halfley to get back to this whole conversation about the opportunity and everything else. And boy, is he's changing his culture around here. Yeah, it better be a good excuse for something not to happen with this guy. I like it. I like both of them so far. We'll see what it looks like once this roster's put together. But either way, while we're talking about this, you guys, it's not going to be a final product in year one. It's just not. They had no free agent money. I mean, I was just looking at Washington. They go out. Washington, who had a bad year last year. They got hit with a lot of injuries, including playing with a backup quarterback most of the season. They went out and they got a lot of veteran guys. They paid a lot of guys $9 to $12 million, and they paid a pass rusher on the outside $100 million. So, and we didn't have that luxury to go out and do that. And so that's why I call it, a lot of what we're going to be talking about is how do the 21 draft picks the last 2 years, how well do they develop in this system around Halfley and his coaching staff? How quickly? I see already, they're already moving to the top. They're going to be playing. You're going to see them a lot. The names of the last 2 draft classes, and even Chop's class with Malik and those guys. So, it's a big year for the 2.5 draft classes that we've had, and see how it looks. But it starts today, man. It starts here in a couple hours. It really does. It's been a nice little warm up for a couple weeks, getting to play against guys just like you. And now you see some names that, have been around a while in this National Football League. So it'll be fun, whether you're a rookie or second year guy or third year guy. Yeah, I think the opportunity really steps up and starts today.
Joe, I'm curious if you can stick around. I probably should ask you this in advance. You can stick around for like another quick segment here. We got a couple more things we wanted to run by you if you're going to be around.
Yeah. I got nothing to do. I mean, I'm just sitting here drinking coffee all morning. I've been up. Yeah.
All
Whatever
right.
you guys want to do, man. Yeah.
Well, let's do that. Let's take a break. We're a little late here, so let's take a break, and we'll come back more with Joe after this.
Your South Florida Chevy dealers this morning. Well, I'll tell you what, when it comes to car
feature where you can listen to any part of any show you might have missed. Anytime.
Welcome back in here on this Wednesday morning on QAM. Hope everyone's having a great start to their day. As we welcome you back in, Hollywood Donno, Dan Day along with you, and Joe is on the line in Virginia here this morning. He's getting set to head over to D.C. to watch the Dolphins and Commanders. Joe, just out of curiosity, Bo texted me last night and told me that he bought tickets for you guys to go on one of those double-decker bus tours through D.C. to see like all the buildings and monuments and stuff. Are you
that's not happening? Right. Let me just stop you. That's just not happening.
Did he not tell you about it yet? Maybe he's surprised. I hope I didn't ruin a surprise.
That was almost equal to you saying that we were out all night again last night. Yeah, that's been a long time. I'm not saying at some point in my life I did stay out all night, but it was a long time ago.
So you and Bo will not be going around the city today?
No, there's no shot. There is no shot. The big fella needs his sleep tonight, man. Get him to bed early. Yeah.
All right. No. All right. Fair enough. Joe, we touched on it a little yesterday. We were talking about it this morning. The Heat getting some national love here with the great Christmas Day slate of games. They're going to be part of that opening week as well. So the new look Heat with Giannis and company getting some love here early on from the national games.
First of all, you get Giannis, that was going to change right away. Now, we were hoping. I like that potential billboard with LeBron on there too. But listen, that's not bad. I would debate anybody. I don't care what we gave up to get those two playing together and fill in the rest of it. I think it's great. I can't wait to see him. He's a ridiculous talent, what Giannis can do. Obviously, he's got to stay healthy. He can't play 38 games or whatever it was. But, man, I think he's going to be motivated. I think he and Bam playing together is a great way to start a team with Wiggins and some other nice pieces they have. I'm really looking forward to it, man. I am. I think it's going to be a fun basketball season. Hey, besides that, you look at the other side. We were talking last night. I was with Goldie last night. Have you ever seen a team that didn't make the playoffs? Think about this. They didn't make the playoffs. And they come back and they're the favorites in Vegas to win the Stanley Cup. That it just doesn't happen. That's crazy. So they bring the whole cast of characters back. They add a Kachuk brother. They lose Big Bob, and let's go. I just think basketball and hockey season are going to be a blast. I know everybody's got football fever right now, but it really is. It is going to be really fun starting the new year having those two teams playing. I can't wait.
Well, Joe, I got to get back to that football fever, though, because I know you and Hollywood were out at a Hurricanes practice earlier in this training camp. Your take on not only Darian Mensah, who I know we watched in spring now and so far in fall camp, but on the kind of new look offensive line and defensive line after losing some guys to the NFL. Do you think they can fortify those lines of scrimmage again?
It's going to take a while. That's why I love the schedule to start with the young guys. But I got to tell you, man, Cantwell looks different from spring football to where he is right now. Just they cross, as you know, they put a lot of guys, a lot of different positions across the board. They're big on that and doing a great job, and they've always done that with great success. I think the young guys, listen, the key is those young guys have a lot of talent. Now it's just a matter of how quickly can they get caught up to close to what we had a year ago. But I'm really excited. I saw the day I was there, I thought the offensive line was really good. I was looking to see, like, wow, okay. And they look like NFL guys, man. You start looking at some of these guys, 6'8", 6'7". They just got some big, talented guys that can really move. They just need some experience. And by the way, I tell everybody, Stanford's going to have some plays. They're going to run some games, and they're going to get through and make some plays, and the crowd's going to go nuts. But those growing pains going forward, those mistakes won't be made a lot. Those guys they'll catch on quickly. Hey, the thing that impressed me the most, Donno, when I was out there, I haven't talked to you. Yeah. These receivers, the catches, the adjustments to catches they made. Everything people are saying about this wide receiver. My thing is you only got one football. I don't know how you're going to get everybody. There's going to be some games where really good players have 2 or 3 catches. And but they got a loaded, talented. I'm not sure I need this many guys, but wow, they got quite a class. And hey, the young guys they have, it's impressive. Yeah, it's and the quarterback brings his wide receiver in with him, and that just kind of like, oh, okay, we got another 1,000-yard receiver. All right, we'll have to change some things. So, but I like the team a lot. I like the team. If there's one position, I want to see the pass rush. We've talked about the guys that played a little bit a year ago and showed signs. I want to see if they're going to take the next step to get close. They're not going to be the 2 guys we just lost in the first round who stayed durable, played the whole season. I just want to see how much they develop. I think I'm even a little more concerned about the pass rush than maybe the offensive line, which has got a ways to go. There's a lot of new faces there.
You want to hang with us for one more segment, Joe?
No, I don't. I got to get going. I knew you were going to do this. I knew you were going to get me. No, I don't. I'm going to get going.
Do you really have to get going?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to catch an 8 o'clock.
Oh, okay. All right. I probably should have ran this stuff by you beforehand.
That's okay.
Live production.
Well, I was gonna tell you. Did you by any chance happen to see the Kyler Murray got named the starter in Minnesota?
Yeah,
you guys,
no surprise.
Someone put up a picture of him at the podium, and they go Kyler Murray talking about winning the starting job, and all you see is the top of a head sticking out.
That stuff. What's wrong with people, man? What's wrong with everybody? Hey, by the way, how would you like to be J.J. McCarthy for a third year now? Going okay. Hey, you hang in there. All right. And, boy, they didn't mess with me. I guess I saw the head coach said, I want to make a decision before preseason. And I felt like that was his job, Kyler's job the whole time. I felt as soon as he signed, it was his job. So,
that must be a riled up fan base, man. Let Darnold walk and end up with this mess here. But all right, Joe.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd love to be a quarterback throwing to the guys he's going to be throwing to. That's not a bad group.
Yeah,
it's not a bad group at all.
Absolutely. So. If he can see over his line, I'm sure he'll be able to get it out to those guys. All right, Joe. Have a great day. Enjoy practice. And
Thanks,
enjoy the double-decker bus tour with Bo.
I will. And listen, I'll talk to you tonight, and I'll see you in the morning.
All right, sounds good, Joe. See you.
Yeah. See you guys.
Joe.
Thank you.
Joe Rose here with us. I didn't run any of this stuff by him. I didn't realize what time his bus was. So he's got to go. We got Omar Kelly. He's going to join us in 20 minutes. We got Omar's thoughts on just simply ask him, Donno, what to watch for out here today. Like, what are you going to be keying in on here with this practice today? And I just, it's one thing, Donna, I know we have to break, but I thought this was so interesting. Joe asked John Eric Sullivan the other down Monday when we had him on, when you watch practice, what are you looking for? How do you evaluate everything? And he said he goes out there and he zeroes in, he keys in on, a couple of single matchups. And like, I want to watch this guy against this guy today, or I'm going to watch this guy, because he's right. Like, you can't watch 90 guys, right? It's just too difficult. And I sat there and watched the practice the other day with the writers, and they're going, oh, this guy beat this guy. This guy beat this guy. And they're doing one-on-ones in the offense, defensive line. And it's like, man, it's just, it's hard to keep track. And then, because that's happening on the right side of the field. I'm a ball watcher. On the left side of the field, I got Malik Willis throwing to receivers, and they're doing one-on-ones with DBs. And so that's what I watch, because that's kind of more, my it keeps me more entertained than watching, the one-on-one battles on the line. But yeah, it's so tough to watch for everything going on all at the same time. So we'll ask Omar what he's going to be watching for. So he's going to join us in about 15 minutes from now. So we'll take a quick break here on QIM.
Tell you what, hurricane season is
at 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733 for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Main office, Fort Lauderdale.
Traffic on WQAM is sponsored by Lexus of Kendall and Lexus of West Kendall. Your home for the best price on luxury. Now featuring the all-new Lexus TX 3-row SUV. In stock and on sale now. Call 305-KENDALL today.
Emergency crews dealing with a vehicle on fire early this morning traveling out of Broward County. The traffic report is brought to you by the casino at Dania Beach, sitting along Florida's Turnpike and northbound at Sunrise Boulevard. Traffic slow moving from before mile marker 16. Major backup continues this morning traveling in Miami-Dade due to a multiple vehicle accident on I-395 eastbound before Biscayne Boulevard, now affecting 2 right lanes. That traffic continued to stack up along the Dolphin Expressway, and a disabled vehicle along the Palmetto southbound at Northwest 58th Street. That has a right lane blocked. That's traffic. I'm Aliyah Escobar on FM 104.3, and you can listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps.
This report is brought to you by the Casino at Dania Beach. Classic Albums Live performs Supertramp August 22nd. Classic Albums Live performs Supertramp Breakfast in America on August 22nd at the Casino at Dania Beach. Relive every iconic hit and experience this legendary album note for note, cut for cut. Don't miss out. Purchase your tickets at CasinoDaniaBeach.com.
You're listening to The Joe Rose Show. This hour is brought to you by Baptist Health.
Turn up the lights and yeah, baby. Extra bright, I want y'all to see.
Welcome back in here on a Wednesday morning. Hollywood Donno and Dan Day along here with you. And Donno, I don't know if you have ESPN on by you, but they have been running about a 15-minute piece on the University of Miami right now. Mario Cristobal
I gotta put that on then, or maybe I missed
it. So Mario's eating Cuban food with Reese Davis. And they obviously I can't hear it, but they have been talking about the program and everything for I think this thing's been on for 15 minutes here. So shows you how well the brand is doing. That it's a busy time of year, and ESPN running a long piece here. They got the Heisman odds, by the way, up now, and C.J. Carr, Arch Manning, Dante Moore, and then Darian Mensah comes in at plus 1150. C.J. Carr plus 700, Arch at plus 750. Dante Moore, another one of those guys who probably could have gone into the draft, plus 1100. So very, very possible the Hurricanes have someone head to New York for the Heisman ceremony there. But man, Donno, this has been a long piece they put on SportsCenter here this morning about the Hurricanes. And again, I guess it just goes to show you where the brand is at these days.
Yeah, when Miami's good, people want to talk about it. I mean, it's exciting. Miami has that very unique alumni base where they not only have several Pro Football Hall of Famers, but all of those guys want to be near the team and kind of pass on their wisdom to the new generation. Yeah, I heard Dan mention in the updates that the Jimmy Johnson was at Miami practice on Tuesday, spoke to the team. I mean, you get to hear regular wisdom from Jimmy, from Michael Irvin, Bryant McKinney, Clinton Portis, like the list goes on and on and on. Andre Johnson is around a lot these days. So Miami's just a really exciting brand. Joe Echeverria mentioned Miami was second nationally in viewership last season. There's power. When the Hurricanes are good, people nationwide, whether they love them or hate them, everyone wants to watch Miami when they're good.
Yeah, I hope Mr. President is enjoying watching this. The U take up this nice little block here on SportsCenter. Again, busy time of year, man. There's a lot of stuff going on. The NBA just put out a bunch of games yesterday, so they got that going on. We got training camps at the NFL and college level going on right now. So we're right around the corner from football. And Donno, we are going to talk to Omar Kelly when we come back here. We're not gonna get into any controversy. We're not gonna stir things up. We're just simply gonna find out what Omar is gonna be looking for today.
I want to know if he was up all night last night.
I hope not, man. I hope Omar is rested and ready to roll here. I'm guessing he'll get after it the rest of the week though, because he's got a couple of nights off now. between this and the Friday night preseason game. But we'll check in with Omar, and we will get everyone a little what to watch for here today with the Dolphins and Commanders. Big test here for the Dolphins. First joint practice of this training camp taking place here this morning. We will head back up to D.C. when we come back. Omar Kelly joins us next.
I want to tell you about Choice Mortgage here real
is home of the 5-time national champion Miami Hurricanes, the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, the 3-time NBA champion Miami Heat, Miami Hurricanes basketball, and now the new home of the 2-time World Series winner Miami Marlins.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Whenever you want a low price, you save with your Pricito. Save now with your Pricito at Doral Volkswagen. Go to DoralVW.com. The Dolphins and Commanders will have the first of 2 joint practices today. They will play a preseason game Friday at 7. The Marlins took down the Pirates 2-0. They play again tonight at 6:40. No Kyle Stowers. He has a hamstring pull. He's on the 10-day IL. Heat going to be playing Christmas Day against the Celtics. They'll open the season at home October 21st against the Timberwolves. And Inter Miami faces León in Leagues Cup play tonight at 7:30. No word if Messi and Berterame will play. This weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Have a leaky roof? Take action now. Get your free estimate, 954-968-8155. Temperature is going to be in the low 90s with chances of rain throughout the day. I am Dan Day. Now back to the Joe Rose Show here on 104.3 FM WQAM.
Cap D coming, 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 Cap D coming.
Good morning. Welcome back in here on this Wednesday on WQAM. Hollywood, Donno, Dan Day along with you. We're going to head back out to the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale, one location. Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, toyotaofhollywood.com. We're heading back to D.C., where Omar Kelly of the Miami Herald is standing by. Omar, good morning. How are things up in our nation's capital?
Things are excellent. This weather is great, man. I tell you, you don't appreciate other weathers until you have to deal with South Florida's heat and humidity for the summer.
Well, we should send you back to D.C. in December and see if.
No. I don't want none of that. Yeah, trust me. I tolerate the 2 horrible months of weather that we have for the 10 great months of weather that we have, and yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
All right, Omar. The simple question today is, what are we watching for as the Dolphins? It's a big test for them. I think people, we saw the practice last year and they go, oh, you can't overreact to a practice. And boy, did that thing set the tone for the season, Omar. So today's practice, I think, is very, very crucial for the Dolphins.
Well, Jeff Hafley wants a physical team. And physical teams are something that you build and cultures that you create. So we have to see that. It can't be any more of this finesse and timid. And yeah, last practice in Chicago and in Detroit, they basically personified the Mike McDaniel era. Chicago punched them in the mouth, and it was and Miami's response was teammates fighting with one another. Miami's response was wide receivers basically not being anywhere near where their quarterback expected them to be because they were facing press coverage for the first time, which in my mind sounds ridiculous now. And in hindsight, I think it is ridiculous. And then the next week in Chicago, Jesus Lord, they got embarrassed by a team that wasn't that much better than them, but just had a physicality to them. We have to see Jeff Hafley's team try to create an identity of physicality. And that's something that has to be there. Even though this is a young team, even though these are rookies, even though I'm not expecting a lot of veterans to practice just because a lot of the veterans are pretty much hurt right now. The young guys, they're going to look green. They're going to look inexperienced. They're going to make mistakes. But do they grow from that? Today, I'm looking to see if Caleb Douglas has some drops. I'm looking to see if Jacob Rodriguez continues to make, quick decisions and tackles behind the line of scrimmage, and if the blitzes that they call for him hit, if they're effective. I'm looking to see if Chris Johnson, I want to see him on the boundary more than I want to see him at nickel. I'm being honest with you. But I want to see him, I want to see him get a little work with Stephon Diggs and some McCullen. they have to start to bite. I'm a person who believes in that Bill Parcells. If the puppy don't bite, then the dog probably not going to bite.
Omar, let's talk about, matchups with what Miami has and what Washington has. Any specific, whether it's player versus player or position versus position group, that you're going to be watching most closely today?
I always watch the trenches, Donno. You know that.
I know that.
Chop is, there is no Laramie Tunsil out here. So, I'm sure Houston's probably having a tough time in transition, trying to find whoever's going to be their new left tackle and having that guy settle in. Well, I expect Chop to beat his head in. Chop has been doing excellent, looking great. And trust me when I say that, people who know me and know my reputation know I don't sugarcoat crap. And I'm not going to hype up a player who isn't worthy of it. Chop has looked like a first-round pick. So I need him to continue to look like a first-round pick. So, yes, I'm going to be watching the trenches. I want to see how these second-year defensive tackles play. I want to see Zeke Biggers if he continues to flash, because I remember last year the joint practice against Chicago was kind of the first time he flashed to me, and I started to develop a fanboy thing for him. And then also Jaden Daniels, I remember from our joint practice with Washington 2 years ago, that guy, I was like, he's going to be good because he carved up the defense, like tremendously carved them up. And I needed to know if I was so impressed, but it made me have some concerns about the Dolphins defense. And that season they did have some issues on defense. I want to see how Jaden Daniels does against this secondary and who's for real. Who's for real in the secondary right now? I don't know if I've seen a starting safety, and I'm not sure I've seen 3 starting caliber cornerbacks. I've seen maybe 1.
Omar Kelly here with us on WQAM. Omar, what is it you call? You call me a ball watcher, I think, right? Is that because that's all I care about is what the quarterback is doing?
Yes, of course. Yes, yes. If that, I'm sorry for those people. I want to see Malik Willis play well, but I don't. I think Malik is. I think Malik is Ryan Tannehill second year level good right now, and if that's where he's at right now, and he's getting better. He's getting better every single day. If that's where he's at right now, I'm very encouraged by that because. And Jeff Hafley said it this week when he was talking to somebody. I can't remember talking to the guy from NFL Network, Rich Eisen. They view Malik Willis as if he's a rookie quarterback, and that this is the best rookie quarterback that they could have drafted. They just didn't use a draft pick for it, and he's gonna need time to develop and progress and get better. So that's where they are from that standpoint. And I don't disagree with them. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to grow from it, but we should view him from the perspective and the prism as a rookie quarterback, even though he's a veteran. He started 6 games, man, and really only looked good in 3 of those 6 games. That's not a veteran.
Omar, I asked Joe Rose this question. I'd like to ask you as well. How different is covering Jeff Hafley to covering Mike McDaniel the past few years?
Great communicator. Probably might be the best communicator I've ever covered from the standpoint of Dolphins coverage. He just is very good at articulating what he wants to achieve and his point. Which is phenomenal. Does he? I don't know how good of a coach he is, but I love the way that he communicates. Now, players tune that out if you can't get them results. Absolutely, but not this team because this is such a baby and veteran team, a baby and young team. They don't know any better, but it's going to allow him to lay a really good foundation because. hopefully they have success and hopefully guys buy in. But ultimately, when I've covered NFL teams, they got to have some success. What you talk about has to show up and has to produce results. Otherwise, players start to stop believing in you and start to tune you out. But that's more of a veteran staff. These rookies, they don't know any better about anything. So it'll be interesting to see how this thing develops. But great communicator, really, really phenomenal communicator.
So you talk about a young team, Omar, and the wide receiver group, of course, is very different from what it looked like the past few years. There's a lot of youth there. How has that group stood out to you, good, bad, ugly, so far in camp?
There are, you say a lot of youth. I assume you're referring to the rookies.
Yes.
or the young players. Only Caleb Douglas is really worth mentioning. I haven't seen enough of Kevin Coleman because he's injured right now. He's not going to be practicing this week. That has allowed young players like Taj Washington and A.J. Henning to step up. I've been really impressed with A.J. Henning. He was on the practice squad last year. He's got a little something to him. Caleb Douglas, like him, good route runner, definitely looks like a third-round pick. Inconsistent with his hands. That has concentration drops. That has to be addressed. Chris Bell obviously is working, but it seems as if they're not going to rush him, which is smart. That's a really smart approach, based on what Sullivan said to you guys, to the Joe Rose show, and we'll see if he's ready for October. It looks like he's going to at least miss the first 4 weeks. But we'll see where he is. And the young receivers, it's funny you say young receivers, because I don't look at, yes, they're 3 rookies, but they're just, a lot of these guys just blend in. Like, could they use a better receiver and tight end? Absolutely. Like if I had a wish list, I can wave a wand and fix some issues with the Dolphins. I get a veteran nickel cornerback because Chris Johnson is way better on the boundary than he is at nickel. This is going to be, he's talented, but nickel is an adjustment. It's a learning process. It's probably one of the hardest positions in football to play. Wave my wand, I fix that. I'd also get a better offensive tackle. They obviously just traded for one. I don't know if he's any good. I'll watch him today and see how he does. I'd wave my wand and get a veteran tight end. A Jonnu Smith makes a lot of sense for me because young quarterbacks need good tight ends. I'm not sure if he has a good tight end right now. And I'd probably add a veteran wide receiver and maybe a veteran slot receiver. Because I think Malik is better as a flanker. I want to see Malik as a flanker, and I'm not necessarily sure where they are with the wide receiver unit right now.
All right, Omar, let's look into your crystal ball here. We going to get some positive stories to come out of today's practice when we read your stuff in the Herald today?
I have no idea. I hear that they are having secondary issues. So if Malik is able to exploit that, I will take another step in the Malik Willis hype train. I'll take another step forward. I like what he's done. His ability, his arm is top shelf, like ridiculously good. I did not expect that. And his ability to throw on the move, and throw accurately on the move, ridiculously good. Those two things alone would have made him, if I'm just looking at him, a first-round pick. And they are very impressive. Now, is he polished? No. And does he need to get comfortable in the offense? Absolutely. If he comes out here and he carves up Washington, you will hear me singing and buying in. If he struggles, it'll just be another part of the growing pains of a young, inexperienced team that needs more talent.
As you mentioned earlier, Omar, you are not a ball watcher. You are big on the trenches, as I am.
Mm-hmm.
So how have you evaluated the offensive line to this point?
They'll be fine if they can find some depth. I always look at offensive lines. Do you go 8 deep? This offensive line goes 6 deep, and we know one starter is probably going to miss 40% of the games. So what do you do? When, how good are you when your weakest link? How good are you? Your offensive line is only as good as your weakest link. So when we have to replace Jonah or Proctor, or pray to God you don't have to replace Patrick Paul, what does it look like? And right now it's going to destroy your whole team. So you better find find or develop 2 new offensive linemen. But the starters, if everybody stays healthy, they'll be fine. That's if everybody stays healthy, which never happens. I've been doing this for 20 years. There has never been a season where you don't have to start your 7th offensive lineman for at least 6 games. There's never been one.
What would a successful season look like this year for the Miami Dolphins?
To me, a winning record. That's being greedy. Playoffs is unrealistic. A good season, winning record. Yeah. Ideal season is develop more players than wins that you have. If you develop 6 guys, 7 guys, and you're like, yeah, that's a dog right there. That's a real player. I'll be happy. And if you have 5 wins, or I expect this team to win 5 games because talent-wise, Malik Hidden, a good quarterback can get you 4. Like, Ryan Fitzpatrick got the Dolphins 4 wins when they had a comparable talent base. Got the Dolphins 5 wins when they had a comparable talent base in 2019. Malik is tools-wise better than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Experience-wise, absolutely not even close. So I'm curious to see how far he can carry this team. But I personally believe if you're trying to win games, every team in the NFL should win 4 games. Like injuries, turnovers, you catch somebody on a bad day, you get a hot hand from Devon Achane, every single team should win 4 games. If you're not trying to win 4 games, then that's a totally different conversation. And I don't think Dolphins are going to be that team that's not trying to win 4 games. This is about laying a culture. It's not about tanking. It's not about drafting Arch Manning. This is about building a culture, and so they're going to be trying.
Omar, thank you for the time. As always, any big plans up there in D.C.? You gonna go sightseeing or anything like that? Oh yeah,
absolutely. In fact, I've been very excited about this trip because I want to go to the African American History Museum. I've heard such great things about it. I've got my appointment, my ticket. I'm also going to do a hop-on, hop-off bus tour. Nice. I'm a big hop-on bus. Yes. I'm a big, huge hop-on, hop-off bus tour guy, and I've never done one in D.C.
Try to bring Joe with you. Joe was saying he's doing no sightseeing. Yeah. Try to get Joe out there.
Yeah, it's a business trip for Joe, but I got, Joe. Let me not tell Joe's business, but Joe has fun on the road. Joe's always talking about he's going to retire. Joe ain't retiring. These are his buddies. It's like a locker room for him. It's hard for you to give it up once you've been in it.
You gonna post some nice pictures, Omar, today? I know that museum you're going to is right there at the National Mall, I believe, right in the middle of everything.
I have no idea where it is.
I think it is. I think
today is a ridiculous work day for me. So the next 2 days I'll be working hard, and the Thursday is when I'll be running the streets.
You can go. I think the Smithsonian museums. I think you can, if I recall, you can just walk in.
It's free, right?
Yeah, they're free.
You can, but sometimes there's words that that it's overcrowded, or you have to make. You should make an appointment. So it is free, but you should make an appointment. So I have an appointment.
All right, excellent, Omar. Enjoy your sightseeing in D.C. and send us some pictures. Bring us back something nice, all right?
All right, I got you.
All right, thanks, Omar. See you later. Omar Kelly from the Miami Herald. Big practice today here for the Dolphins. Going to get some sightseeing in there, Donno. We did.
I'm proud of him, man. You get to go on these great.
Yeah,
you get to go on these great trips. Go out and see the sights.
Yeah, man, we were in D.C. like 2 or 3 years ago, and we took the kids, saw all the stuff there. Did the
I haven't been
the White
House.
High school. Yeah, it's cool, man. There's a lot of really cool buildings over there that you get to see. We did the White House tour. We did like the the Smithsonian museums that I just recommended to Omar there. So I'm guessing Omar will experience some of the nightlife as well. As they do have some cool stuff going on in DC. All right, we're gonna take a pause. We have a lot more to get to here as we continue on this morning. Alex Donno from the Locked On Canes podcast is here with us, so we'll get into to some Canes stuff with him. We got Heat games starting to trickle out here, so that schedule is starting to make its way forward, and we got a big Dolphins practice coming up in DC this morning. So we'll take a pause, and we will get to all the headlines when we come back here on QAM.
Atlantic Men's Clinic ain't giving anything
Or you can listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Check it out now.
Welcome back in on a Wednesday morning here on QAM. Hollywood Donno, Dan Day along with you. Let people know about our contest we got going here. We got a couple of things going for you. We have Kiss Country presenting Stars and Strings this November at Hard Rock Live at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, featuring Lee Bryce, Kane Brown, Brantley Gilbert, Brandon Lake, and Stephen Wilson Jr. We had a chance for you to win tickets. Text the word guitar to 20357. That is guitar to 20357, and you are entered. For more information, you can go to WQAM.com. It's a text contest. Message and data rates may apply. Don't text and drive. And we also, on the WQAM contest page, go to WQAM.com for this one. We have VIP tickets to the Hobby Card Show, which is coming up this weekend at the Broward Convention Center. That is, again, Saturday and Sunday here. And you can get your tickets if you do not win these. You can get your tickets at thehobbycardshow.com. VIP tickets and a meet and greet and an autograph from Bam Adebayo on the line here. So you can go punch in your information on the contest page, and you will be entered to win that one. That's where I will be all weekend, Donna. We're setting up shop. Going to be selling some cards here. So hopefully we do well out there. We've certainly
You said you got some Joe Rose cards and autographs?
I have 3 Joe Rose cards that we have up for maybe we'll put them up for auction. We'll see if we get any.
I would say among Joe's audience that are going to go out there, I think those are going to sell really well, because I mean the Joe Rose fanboys and girls are going to want to get their hands on those.
I was shocked, by the way, yesterday. We looked on eBay, and his card, like the regular card, is go for $1. But his autograph cards, like the cheapest one was like $25. Now I don't know if they're selling. They're listed for that. I don't know if they're selling, and I don't know about the authenticity of these cards either, Donno. They were not verified. So, but I could verify that the ones from yesterday are that I got signed are good to go. So we'll have those for you there. But again, you can go to the WQAM.com and register. That's where I will be this weekend. We had a Chicky on here said he'll buy a Joe Rose card for $20. So we had a starting bid of $20 now. So there you go. We'll send those out, by the way. If people want Joe Rose cards, you want to mail them in, maybe we can give people the address at some point here, and we could do that. Or we'll just set Joe up at a table somewhere and have him do a signing, like an NIL type signing.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd be into that. I saw, the Canes are doing a lot of those, by the way. I see Malachi was out signing somewhere, and man, I'll tell you, it's amazing. The Darian Mensah stuff is expensive. I was looking at some of his cards, and his stuff is he's priced in, Donno, to have a pretty good campaign here for the Hurricanes. And that brings me to this question for you: a successful season for Miami is what now? Because you got basically within a drive of winning a national championship. So the expectations are, I guess, that you have to make a step forward, right? Because it's funny, like every year with Mario, Miami has made a nice step forward. And last year's step was a giant step forward. So what is a successful season for the Hurricanes now?
I think you start with winning the ACC. I mean, that's something, to my embarrassment, they've never done before in over 20 years in that conference. And we talked about this earlier. If not now, I don't know when, because this is the perfect combination on paper of Miami having the best team they've had in a really long time, but then also the ACC not looking that good outside of Miami on paper. So I think the time is now for that. So I think it's got to start there. Like, you've got to win the ACC this year. Last year you got into the playoffs without winning the ACC. Your easiest path in is winning the conference. So I think it has to start there. And then in terms of like what actually happens in the playoffs, like obviously, I'm a Miami fan since the 80s. I want to win the Natty. I think everybody wants to win a national championship, but I don't think you can draw the line there in success versus not success. I think you have to win a playoff game or two at the very least. Every year it's different. Depending on what draw you get and where you have to play and how healthy you are and all that. But I think I would call this season a success, Hollywood, if Miami wins the ACC for the first time and they win at least one playoff game. I could be content with that, but I won't be happy unless it's a natty.
Yeah, I guess I'm with you on that, Donno. And this winning the ACC thing is funny because Miami got into the playoff without having to play in the ACC championship game. And, do you even want to? I mean, I guess you want the trophy, right? So, yes, you do want to play in that game, I guess. But, man, if you look at it, Donno, that game is
Well, the thing
meaningless,
is, like,
the right word? Like, I was meaningless too much? Like,
no, well, it's not, though, because now it wasn't the case last year because Duke won the ACC. They didn't even get into the playoffs, and rightfully so because they had 5 losses, but they changed it, Hollywood, to where the conference champions now in the Power 4 do get an auto bid now. So it's like you want to have the chance for that auto bid because, God forbid, if you don't play in the ACC championship game, it becomes a crapshoot when you get to that selection day. I mean, I have never had as many heart palpitations nor sweat as much indoors in like a 70-degree room than I did when I was watching that playoff selection show where they kind of miraculously, I think it was deserved, but having Miami at number 10, despite having them ranked behind Notre Dame for like the previous several weeks, I don't want to go through that again. I want to get to the Selection Sunday show with my feet kicked up, sitting back, relaxing how high the seed is going to be. I don't want to wonder if I'm getting in.
All right. Well, one thing we know, Notre Dame is getting in. Have you seen their schedule?
I have.
I mean, I don't know who's making that. They did quite a job over there making that damn schedule because they essentially, I guess, just have to show up.
Yeah.
For all those games, right? Like, it seems like showing up is basically a punch ticket to the playoff here because they can lose by 50 to Miami, and they'll be sitting pretty to still make a playoff here. But I guess you're right, Donald. For the Hurricanes, you want to get to that. I guess 11 wins, right? Is that being greedy? You want to get to that 11 win mark and win the ACC here this year, and yes, get into the playoff. Certainly, and Miami's got a good path to it. You look at their schedule, and I know there's some weird, weekday games and stuff like that. And that happens, by the way, when they want you all alone on national TV, right? They will sometimes give you those slots there, starting with a Friday nighter against Stanford. But Miami goes into that game, Donno, 24.5-point favorites last I checked. So, I don't know, Stanford going to put up a whole bunch of big fight there in that opener for Miami. But you know what? It's also, I don't know if it's nice, but you're starting the season off a lot easier than you did last year. Yeah. It's not a juicy game, certainly, to open the season like Notre Dame at home was, with people fighting over tickets and stuff. But it's definitely from a wanting to win standpoint an easier way to start the season.
And I think it works out really well that Miami has a handful of like very winnable games to start the year. For this reason, you're breaking in an almost entirely new offensive line. And if there's one position group in football where chemistry matters, it matters everywhere, but offensive line takes the cake, right? Because you have to have 5 men with one mind is how that works out. And Miami's got really talented offensive linemen. Like they're replacing NFL draft picks with former 5- and 4-star recruits. Like they look really good out there, but they've got to show that they can develop that chemistry. So the fact that, Miami has, Stanford and then FAMU and Wake Forest could be tricky. I'm not gonna, I'm not saying Miami shouldn't win that game, but I could see Wake Forest maybe putting up a fight on the road. But these are winnable games you have to open the year, so you're gonna have time to develop that offensive line chemistry before you start to see, your Clemsons and then your Notre Dames later on down the road.
We got text coming in here, 305-567-0560 is how you can reach us on there. We got our YouTube stream going. Jamie's running that here for us this morning as well. We got the 9 o'clock hour around the corner as the Dolphins getting set for a joint practice with the Commanders. We'll let you know what we are going to be watching for today. This is a big one, by the way, for the Dolphins. We will discuss when we come back on QAM.
Hey, chill zone air conditioning. Let's talk about that chill zone air conditioning for just
on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps.
UFC Fight Night is coming in hot, and the best place to catch every hit, kick, and knockout is Twin Peaks. Ice cold 29-degree beer, scratch-made favorites, and wall-to-wall TVs put you right in the action. Fight Night, cold beer, great views. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Cool ways to listen to us.
Okay, I'd like to hear them then.
On FM 104.3 or on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Same great shows, same great games. Plus, you can use the rewind feature and listen to anything you missed. Go for it.
Take a look at my girlfriend. She's the only one I got.
Welcome back in here on QAM on this Wednesday morning. Hollywood Donno, Dan Day along here with you. Dan, I see someone asked you about LSU on there. LSU's got Clemson in the opener.
That's a win.
Hell of a game.
That's a win. We'll knock them back one notch for you guys, and then Miami will take care of the rest of them.
I don't think and I mentioned earlier, like Clemson, I could see them in the ACC anywhere from like 2nd to 8th. It just depends on their quarterback play, but Dabo's gone into the portal a little bit more than he ever has. Like, I think he brought in like close to 10 players, but he refuses to do it at quarterback because Dabo has this like old school mentality of like you don't want to do it at that position. He thinks it'll like destroy the leadership or something. So he's relying on this Chris Vizina, who is Cade Klubnik's backup, and just what I've seen of him. It's not good. I haven't heard great things coming out of their practices about him. So, yeah, I mean, listen, man, I have wonders about LSU with so many new players on the roster, but I think they're going to beat Clemson up pretty bad.
Well, I obviously would love to see Clemson win that game. I am not a big Lane Kiffin fan.
No.
He does not do a lot to be likable to, I guess, any fan base that isn't his own.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's too unlike. I mean, Clemson's not a likable team to begin with, and Lane Kiffin's not a likable guy. So it'll be interesting to see how that works at LSU.
Yeah.
Honestly, most people would say Lane, but I don't know who's more annoying, Lane or Dabo, because Dabo now, he's gotten to this point, Hollywood, where he's like Uncle Rico. Like he just talks about the past. Right now that his team no longer is the powerhouse that they were for a while because he hasn't adapted to the new era. Anytime he gets on the microphone, he gets very defensive about what he's doing there, and he'll start talking about all the stuff he's won in the past. You know, Lane is annoying for a number of different reasons, but I get annoyed by Dabo as well.
Yeah, but I thought Lane became very toxic as well.
Yeah,
like with the whole way that the way that the Ole Miss thing went down, and he ends up taking the job, and then he's, they all want me to coach so badly in the playoff here. And, he was all upset because they wouldn't let him coach. It's like, man, you're moving down the road to coach a rival. Yeah. Like, they're not going to let you stick around and poach players. And, the whole thing was very strange, the way that went down, and giving coaches ultimatums and, just the whole deal there. And then he comes out over the summer and makes these comments about, I couldn't recruit there because of a bunch of racists.
Oh, yeah, that was awful. Awful comments.
Yeah, it was really messed up to do that. And, that school seemed to really help his career for the most part. So I don't understand why he felt the need to dump on them like that after leaving. But I'm just not a huge fan of Lane Kiffin. He seems like a bad guy. Right? Yeah. Like, that's the vibe I get from him. Like, to me, it seems like the only thing he cares about is money and fame.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get the vibe that winning really matters to him all that much.
Well,
and wouldn't you stay at Ole Miss? Yeah. Like, they offered to match your pay, right? Like, you could have made the same money there. They made a really nice run through the playoff, right? Playing some, very inspired football. But I don't know, Lane Kiffin, it feels to me like the only thing that matters is, he's big on social media and Instagram, posting pictures with, was he posting pictures like the Cavender girls and stuff, or, just weird stuff. Seems like that's all he cares about to me, Donno. That's the vibe I get from him.
Well, every job, everything he does is a stepping stone. Like he's not loyal to anything other than himself. But with that said, like, he's a good coach. Like, he hasn't actually won championships. I think people kind of act like he has. And it goes back to why, like, Hollywood, I remember about 5 years ago when the Miami job was open, there was some rumblings about Kiffin being in the running. I think Mario was always the guy that Miami wanted, but, some people kind of framed it as, it could be Mario or it could be Lane. And I remember a lot of folks saying, we'd like to have Lane here. And I said it back then, and I'll say it again. Lane Kiffin would have viewed Miami as a stepping stone. If he'd come here, wouldn't have won a championship, but would have gone somewhere else by now. Where Mario, who just signed a contract extension, by the way, and is building this team, this roster into an absolute juggernaut, he's not going anywhere. So I always felt like, if you can find somebody who's not only a great coach, but that's going to be loyal to you, you do that. And you remember the way, Ole Miss fans, they treated Lane like he was a god while he was there. And, man, they turned on him really quick when he turned on them. He's in the honeymoon now at LSU, but believe me, in a couple of years, if Lane can see an opportunity to get an even bigger job, whether that's probably in the NFL somewhere, because there's not too many bigger jobs in college than LSU, he will not hesitate to use LSU as the stepping stone for the next thing.
Yeah, that's a great point, by the way, about Coach Cristobal, right? Because he is not going anywhere. There's just no school that could lure him away. He doesn't have the NFL itch. Right, he's not going to be the next coach of one of these NFL teams. He wants to be here and wants to make this program as great as it can be. And Donno, I'll be honest, I see Mario being the coach of this team for the next 20 years. I don't see him going anywhere. And as long as they are able to continue to bring in the talent at the level that they are, which I don't see that changing, he is going to be here for the foreseeable future. We are going to be in the 9 o'clock hour when we come back here on QAM. If you missed it early, we had Joe really early this morning, so we'll run that for you, get Joe's thoughts on the upcoming practice between the Commanders and the Dolphins. They're getting set to go this morning up in DC. We'll take a pause. The 9 o'clock hour is next on QAM.
Your South Florida Chevy dealers this morning.
August 22nd at the Casino at Dania Beach. Relive every iconic hit and experience this legendary album note for note, cut for cut. Don't miss out. Purchase your tickets at CasinoDaniaBeach.com.
This is the legendary WQAM-FM and HD1 Miramar, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. WQAM Miami, an Odyssey sports station. The home of Joe Rose with Hollywood, Tobin and Leroy, and Hot Crowder and Solana. South Florida sports lives here.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Whenever you want a low price, you save with your Precito. Save now with your Precito at Doral Volkswagen. Head to DoralVW.com. Dolphins and Commanders have a joint practice today. They will play a preseason game Friday at 7. The Marlins took down the Pirates 2-0 last night. They play again today at 6:40. Inter Miami takes on Liga MX Leon tonight in Leagues Cup play. That is going to be a 7:30 kickoff. No word if Messi or Berterame will play. The Herons need a regulation win to keep their hopes alive in advancing in the tournament. The Heat, they'll play the Celtics on Christmas Day. That's going to be a 2:30 tip. They will open the season October 21st at home against the Timberwolves. This weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Have a leaky roof? Take action now. Get free estimates 954-968-8155. Temperatures in the low 90s with scattered showers throughout the day. I am Dan Day. Now back to the Joe Rose Show here on 104.3 FM WQAM.
Good morning. Welcome back in here on this Wednesday. Hollywood, Donno, Dan Day along here with you. Dolphins getting set for their joint practice with the Commanders. A big one today here for the Dolphins. We'll chat with Joe about today's practice momentarily here. Joe is out in D.C. He will be back with us for the full show tomorrow and Friday here. Donno, I just got an email from the NFL. The Jonas Brothers will headline the halftime show at the 2026 NFL Melbourne game. So in Australia.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad you filled me in on that.
Well, yeah, I want to make sure you knew about this. Actually, a good game. The Niners and Rams are going to play there on September 11th at 10:35 in the morning on Netflix.
I don't mind it. I'm usually up early, so I'll take it.
Man. Wait, so I'm sorry. It's actually going to be Thursday, September 10th at 8:35 in the U.S.
Still works.
8:35 at night.
8:35 at night or morning?
So it's 10:35 in Australia time. AEST. Is that like Australian Eastern time?
I'll take, yeah, sure.
So in Australia, the game's on Friday. Here it's on Thursday.
But is that Thursday morning or Thursday night for us?
At night.
At night, okay.
Yeah, at the iconic Melbourne Cricket Ground.
And they love their cricket over there.
Stadium,
I know that.
I guess. Yeah, so there you go.
Will they be confused over there? Like they're used to watching cricket matches. Like, will they understand football?
Look, I don't know if these countries, like, are they asking for NFL games? Or are we just ramming it down their throats? I don't know. I can't imagine, by the way, having to take this insane flight to play a game, and then you got a quick turnaround after. That's brutal, man. That is certainly not around the corner.
Well, you know what? You know what? I bet you. Hold on, I'm thinking out loud here. I think Australia probably does want this because that's where all the punters are from.
That's true.
Because they play that Australian rules football. So yeah, I'm sure. There's going to be some Aussie punters over there. So, yeah, they're excited. They're going to be the only fan base in the world that's going to be looking forward to punts so they can see their guys.
There you go. And they get the Jonas Brothers at halftime, so that's even more exciting. The only thing I know about the Jonas Brothers is one of them was this is the old building, I think, the old studio. One of them came into who had a solo career or something or other, little guy. That they have. And he was walking around the building because he was doing something, I guess, for Power 96 or whatever.
Yeah.
And Joe, snuck out of the studio. He walks over to them and started doing his act, like he has like a kind of an act he does with people around. And this guy was not, I tell you, not interested.
Really?
Like this guy wanted nothing to do with Joe. He was not into it. He was not into
and
it. I don't know which
he's
Jonas
he's
brother
probably not a
was,
good guy because, like, most people love Joe's social skills. Like anyone who's not into that is probably not someone I want to hang out with.
Yeah. So I don't know which Jonas brother this was. I don't even know how many of them there are, to be quite honest.
I have no clue.
There's 3 of them, and Joe Jonas spends a lot of time here in South Florida. I don't know if he has a house, but he's real big into South Florida, so it might have been him.
I was just the only thing I remember, I was surprised how small he was in person. And again, I don't know which Jonas brother it was. I couldn't tell you, but anyway, yeah, Joe tried his act on the Jonas brother, and it did not go over very, very well. All right, we got the Dolphins with a joint practice today with the Commanders, so that is coming up later this morning. And Donno, there is going to be a lot to watch for in this one here today. You talk about a team that has question marks all over the place, and that is the Miami Dolphins. You flash back to last year. They have the practice with the Lions, and they get torched, and it became kind of a national story. And I just remember everyone being like, it's a stupid practice. Who cares? It means nothing. And it really set the tone for how the season went. Now, I'm not saying today's practice will do that. I think clearly this is early on in this process here, and you have preseason games, and you have another joint practice still to come. But I'd like to see this thing be competitive today. I'd like to see the Dolphins hold their own to some extent and not, come out of this thing where we see articles from, Omar and Perk, and, we hear Joe tomorrow morning and you just talk about the Dolphins just getting smoked out there today. That would not be very encouraging, Donno.
I mean, I want to see the Dolphins look tougher, because not only last year did they kind of get clowned in those joint practices, but they were physically out-muscled, which is kind of the hallmark of a Mike McDaniel coach team, and it's never something, that you want from your NFL team. It's no longer a track team down here. Hafley and Sully are trying to build it into a more physical unit. So I want to see them winning their physical matchups. I want to see Malik Willis, continuing to look as sharp as he's been when it's Dolphin versus Dolphin, and continuing on the toughness standpoint. You want to see your lines of scrimmage, like how much damage can Chop Robinson do against the Commanders' offensive line? How's Patrick Paul and Caden Proctor going to look going up against the Commanders' front? I think you could take a lot away. Like you said, it can set the tone, but it's not the end-all, be-all. It's one joint practice, but I think it's going to give us an idea of where this team stacks up physically compared to last year.
Yeah, I mean, look, Donno, it is tough to sell to fans a rebuild. It always, basically in most circumstances, it's tough, right? Because it just means more waiting. And as Dolphin fans, I know that people have had enough waiting, right? It's been a long, long wait. And they basically have told you, hey, you need to hang in there for a few more years while we fix all the damage that's been done. And these guys have a very, very tough job ahead of them, right? And there are a whole bunch of new players on this team, and hopefully they were able to draft some impact players. And, we're going to find out how well John Eric Sullivan drafts. We're going to find out if he's got an eye for quarterbacks with Malik Willis. And we're going to find out an awful lot here in the coming weeks and I guess months, right? Because we got to see how this season plays out. It's just everyone's all over the map, man. Like USA Today had him with 1 win. What is Vegas? I think 4.5 wins.
Yeah.
We had Omar today. What's a good season, Omar? A winning record. Well, 9 wins is tough, right? That's 9 wins is tough for a good team.
And that, but honestly, 9 wins almost gets you into the playoffs.
Yeah, if they make the playoffs, and again, it's a silly conversation to be having because I don't think it's particularly realistic. And you look at the schedule too; the schedule's brutal, right? Outside of you got Vegas to start, but then you go to San Fran, and then you got KC. So you're looking at best probably 1 and 2 to start the season, right? And that's assuming you get the Vegas game. Because Vegas is, probably down there with the worst teams in football, you would think.
Maybe you can sneak San Francisco with the coaching situation.
Well, San Francisco's got that electrical problem, too, with all their players getting injured. That thing is, you talk about a weird story. But, Dan, you'll be doing post-game here. We got we're gonna have post game coming up on Friday, right?
That's right.
The preseason game. So Dan Day will have your reaction, and you can call in, and if you're angry, you can let Dan have it. We're going to talk to Joe later on here in this hour. If you missed it earlier, we're going to go over everything that we're going to be watching for at today's practice. So we'll take a quick pause. We'll catch up with Joe momentarily here on QAM.
Game 2 of the Marlins series
All right, welcome back in here on QAM on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Hollywood, Donno, Dan Day along here with you. Donno, the host of the Locked On Canes podcast. And Donno, this is the part of the show where I like to ask you what we got coming up here on the podcast. And please let everyone know where they can find it.
Yeah, a big topic today on Locked On Canes, which should probably come out around lunchtime, 12:30, is actually going to be something we discussed way back in the 6 o'clock hour, Hollywood, and that is how the potential Protect College Sports Act could impact conference realignment, and could Miami end up in the Big Ten or the SEC sooner rather than later. I'm going to be doing a crossover with someone who I think has been on with us on this show before when I filled in, Brian Smith, who hosts the Portal podcast, which talks a lot of the business stuff of college football. We're going to do an episode about that and how that could affect Miami. I'm probably going to do another episode today with some questions and answers about training camp as we gear up for the season, because we are, I think, I want to say 23 days away now from Miami versus Stanford. It's coming up quick. We're going to be in season.
Yeah. Now, you don't anticipate anything happening in the next few weeks, right? As far as this conference realignment stuff goes, are we going to just get into the season and kind of forget all this nonsense? And
I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, I could see it like you said. Now, if the Protect College Sports Act, which hasn't passed yet, they were going to vote on it like a week or two ago, and they kind of punted that into September. I don't know for sure if it's even going to pass or not, but if it does pass, in the fall, then you would have that 6-month window, 180 days, about 6 months to declare you're leaving your conference. So. And again, I don't know for sure what Miami would even do in that situation. I can't guarantee anything. But with the 6-month thing, I would figure they'd probably kind of hold off on anything seismic until after the football season is over, because I don't think they want to distract from what should be a really good team this year. Can you imagine if Miami were to in September or October say, oh, by the way, we're declaring we're going to leave the ACC? I don't think Mario Cristobal would be happy with that sort of a bombshell coming out in the middle of the season. So I'm sure they would wait.
Now, the stupid follow-up to that is they have to have an invite from somewhere else to leave, right? You're not just going to leave. So would it be, I guess the Big Ten would be the option, right? And you said they're trying to wait out on Notre Dame here, and I don't know if Notre Dame's ever going to join a conference fully here, Donno, but I guess they'd have to wait, hopefully get the invite from the Big Ten. But yeah, I hope that none of this stuff happens imminently. Let's get to the football season and try to enjoy this thing here while we can, and leave this kind of stuff for the off season. Weird off season, by the way, for college football. Each one has gotten weirder, I feel like, as we go. But this Brendan Sorsby thing was maybe. That might set the gold standard for weird off-season college football stories, right? Because we've had so much stuff in these off seasons, and they seem to kind of all go back to money. You starting to notice that trend that every conversation around college football in the off season kind of goes back to either TV money or NIL money or some gambling, some sort of money.
Yeah, it's I did see something today about some player, I'm not sure where, had a snake in his helmet for an hour, which was I only saw that. So at least that's one non-money related thing that's going on. But other than that, like you said, it's all about everybody's pocket watching. I guess because the money is still a new thing in college football. Fan bases will try to shame other fan bases, oh, your players are making more money than that's a terrible thing. So yeah, it's some of the dialogue can get really annoying. I like to focus more on the actual ball and the actual who's coming in and what they can do rather than who's making what, but inevitably a lot of it comes back to that.
Yeah, well, that's the beautiful thing about this, is that we are going to jump into football in what, 3 weeks from now. Donno,
yeah.
we're going to be playing real games here. Really quick, let me get you a stock market report brought to you by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Market opens in about 4 minutes from now. NASDAQ futures up 300 points. Dow up 156. The S&P up 37. So best of luck to all players there. Donno, we are going to head back up to D.C. when we come back here. The Dolphins with a big joint practice today, getting set to take on the Commanders. They will also meet the Commanders on Friday night for the preseason opener. Dan Day will have your post game for you for that one. So he will have all the reaction. And by the way, Dan, this should be a very intriguing preseason game. I don't know who's going to play, minutes or what. I imagine, the young rookies and such are going to play a pretty big role in this game. So you should have a lot to break down following that one.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of, first-time sights, and then, of course, a lot of guys that have a lot to prove. That's the one thing that everyone has said about practice. No matter what, everyone's very hungry and ready to prove themselves. So these games mean a little bit more to the Dolphins this year than they have probably in the past.
Absolutely. And you got a joint practice that is going to mean a lot here today. We'll head back up to D.C. When we come back, Joe Rose will let us know what to watch for on the other side here on QAM.
The Joe Rose Show is